This is the verb tener, which means to have, okay? We're going to go over it in the present tense. Now, how are we going to remember that tener is to have? Well, glance down at your hands and notice you have 10 fingers. Listen and repeat. I have 10 fingers on my hands. I have 10 fingers on my hands. Or, if you're wearing sandals or you're barefoot, look down at your feet and say, I have 10 toes on my feet. I have 10 toes on my feet. So, tener is to have is tener. All right, I'm going to say each form of the verb in English and then Spanish and clap, and then I'd like you to repeat it with me. Ready? I have. Yo tengo. I have. Yo tengo. You friend have. Tú tienes. You friend have. Tú tienes. You sir have. Usted tiene. You sir have. Usted tiene. We have. Nosotros tenemos. We have. Nosotros tenemos. They have. Ellos tienen. They have. Ellos tienen. All right. Tener is an ER verb. So we expect to chop off the ER and add O, ES, E, EMOS, EN. And you can tell by the green letters that's what we've done. Green letters means it's regular, it's expected, you won't have any trouble with it. But notice there's a G in the O form. Now what's the only form of tener with a G? The yo form. Now, why is the yo form the most irregular form of the verb? Well, think about it. Why are some verbs and some forms of verbs irregular? If a verb or a form of a verb is irregular, what it says is this verb or this verb form is used all the time. It's used so much we've worn it out. Think about your shoes. If you have a pair of shoes that you don't wear very often, they don't change. But if you have a favorite pair of shoes that you wear every day, they stretch and change. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to learn the irregular verbs. Please understand, guys, if a verb is irregular, what it means is this verb is very important and it's used all the time. And because it's used so much, it's worn out, just like your favorite pair of shoes or your favorite jacket. Okay? And since the yo form of the verb is used the most when we talk, typically the yo form is the most irregular. Think about it. What's the only form of ser, ir, and a star that has a Y? The yo form. What's the only form of tener or hacer that has a G? The yo form. Also notice this dotted red line and notice I-E, I-E, I-E. This is what I call, no one else calls it this, but I call this a sinking verb, okay? Notice the letter E is floating on top, the letter E is floating on top. Which is heavier, the letter E or the two letters I-E, I-E, I-E? Well, I-E would be heavier. So, these two extra letters, the extra letter caused it to sink, sink, sink. So this is what I call a sinking verb. Those bottom three forms share something in common. A star, to be located, is a sinking verb. Tener, this one is to be a sinking verb. Also the others that you're going to learn later. Venir and oír. Okay? That should do it. That's tener, to have, in the present tense.